Hello, I'm Paul Pluta and welcome to Paul Pluta Prestige. Today I'd like to talk about the Cartier Ballon Bleu. And I've got to say, this is a very interesting watch, and I've been a huge Cartier fan. And one thing about Cartier is that what they tend to do is they're a very traditional company, but they're always at the cutting edge of design. Now, the downside of that is that some of their Cartier pieces they keep for a couple of seasons and then they ditch. For example, the Cartier Santos, it's now become the Santos 100, whereas the traditional Santos is no longer to be seen. And the downside of this is that on the second-hand market, they can be very savage. The retention of value can be quite savage, and even the traditional stud like the Cartier Panther, it's no longer available, and it's also savaged. But the other side is Cartier is a hugely fantastic brand. They bring out pieces that are really cutting edge, and I got to say, when I saw the Ballon Bleu, I was just amazed. The way they moved the winding crown away from the traditional spot, and how they did it, I just thought was amazing. And I think the Ballon Bleu is just a beautiful piece. And I'd even go as far as to say, I love it. It comes in steel. You can get it in two-tone, and you can get it in solid gold as well as white gold. But I gotta say, the two-tone, it kind of suits this model to a T. And the criticism of it is they're expensive. Even on the secondary market, they're very expensive. And I think you might, if you bought one, they may not retain value in the long run, but who cares? As long as you enjoy it, you love it, and you get pleasure out of it, maybe that's a big enough dividend for you. And the Ballon Bleu, I mean, it's just Cartier does this. They introduce models which are better than the previous ones, and I can remember seeing the first Roadster that came out, the Cartier Roadster, and I can remember when the Cartier Pasha came out. I thought, oh my God, it's beautiful. And I can remember they sometimes reissue pieces. The Cartier Basculin Tank came out, and you look at some of them and they're just gorgeous. And I got to say, the Ballon Bleu, in the nice big size, it's really quite a beautiful piece. And if you want something, it's a little bit flamboyant, it's a little bit, it's a stylish piece. Make no bones about it. It's like having a Jaguar. It may not say Jaguar all over it, but it's a Jaguar. And it's the same with a Cartier. It's so beautifully styled, it's so beautifully done. It's a beautiful piece, and the only thing that lets Cartier down is the fact that they've used generic movements at times, and I suppose you get that. A lot of makers have, and let's not just single out Cartier, but Cartier, one thing about Cartier is the design is where they excel. Their design excellent is second to none. I mean, Rolex toes the line. They don't change much. It's evolution, not revolution. Whereas Cartier, the design principles are revolutionary. And sure, it may not have a movement like a Patek or an AP or a Vacheron, but where it's cutting edge is the design style of it, and that's what you're buying, is that design brilliance. And I think as long as you realize that, you're pretty well okay with a Cartier Ballon Bleu. Okay, let's go through the rating there. For the brand Cartier, I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. For the status in the range of the Ballon Bleu, I'm going to give it another 7. And that's because this model is so revolutionary. It's the future for Cartier. As far as the movement goes, well, look, Cartier is starting to move more in-house. So I'm going to give them an encouragement point, and we're going to give them 7. The overall quality and finish of the piece, well, look, it's design excellence. It's design excellence, and they are well-made pieces. I'm going to give it a 7. And finally, the Paul Pluta Prestige rating, I'm going to give it a 7. So we tally that all up, 35 for the Cartier Ballon Bleu.